Australia, home to sparkling beaches, exotic wildlife, and basketball? Well, believe it or not, the land down under has been exporting quality basketball players to U.S. colleges for years. Currently, there are over 30 Australians in NCAA Women's Division I hoops, and a couple of them are making their mark in the Big 12. Oklahoma State's Tegan Cunningham and Iowa State's Alison Lacey.
College basketball is huge here, and no one in Australia really understands how big it is until you actually come over and experience it. Like, I've had a few family members over and they can't believe how big it is and how much money and just sponsorships, everything's in it.
Cunningham grew up in Melbourne, the second largest city in Australia, and Lacey comes from the nation's capital, Canberra. The two took distinctly different paths to play college basketball. Lacey moved to Iowa when she was a senior in high school, getting a year of American hoops under her belt before college, and Cunningham came over after high school and spent 2 years at community college before transferring to OSU.
I had probably a little different one because I was in high school when I came over, so I got to live with a family and I got to ease into American life with, 5 brothers and sisters around me and, a family.
But for anyone, moving literally across the world isn't easy.
It was hard. I got really homesick for the first 3 months, but after that, basketball season started and that's where I'm comfortable, and so everything kind of fit into place after that.
It's hard being away from your family, that's a big sacrifice both of us have to take, not having Christmas with our family and birthdays, and that does take a toll, but your family is your team, and you learn to adapt, and if you want to play basketball, then you got to do it.
Those young women who come here have the challenge of not only what the other student athletes have in terms of going through the rigors of playing college basketball and being a student, but also in some cases they have language barriers. Obviously not as much with Australians, although there's some times where I can't understand an Australian. There's times where I can't understand my Canadians and the way they say things.
I think the biggest adjustment for us was her diet. The food is so much different. She got really attached to fast food and Coke. She still likes Coke. The cliches, the slang of the American student was stuff that she didn't understand, or things that she would say that are commonplace. We didn't understand what she was talking about.
She eats Vegemite still. She eats different things, and I don't think that she's really that Americanized. And, when she went to Australia, when she visited Australia last summer and she came back, her accent was so much thicker than when it was when she left. I think it just goes right back to her just like that.
With such a distance to travel, trips home for Australian players are few and far between. But that doesn't mean they've forgotten where they came from.
She hadn't been home a whole lot. She got to go home for her sister's wedding, and her family comes over once a year to spend some time and watch her play.
She's excited to be able to go home and see her family, but I don't think she's very Americanized. I think she's Australian all the way to the bone.
For the Big 12 Report, I'm Sam Newman.